deal with.
Wanderers just one win in their past 6 games against Melbourne City. And City did come here last season and win 3-2 with a late winner from Jamie McLaren. Let's check the team news. Robbie Slater's already mentioned it. Mitch Duke makes his first start since returning to the club. One of 3 changes to the 11 that started against the Reds. Tom Aquilina, we've only ever seen him on the left side, but now he's on his preferred right side as part of the wing-back setup with Daniel Wilmering on the left and James Troisi, the other inclusion. Made his A-League debut against Melbourne City in a Melbourne derby way back in 2013. One of those derbies to look forward to this weekend. Melbourne City's focus right now is on what they can do at Bankwest, and there's one change made to the 11 that romped that 3-0 advantage against Sydney FC before copping 2 late goals. Nuno Reis is back in the starting lineup, and that pushes Roston Griffiths from defence into midfield. Paddy Kisnorbo is their coach, but he's copped some food poisoning, and there's another late change there as well to our original team sheet. Naoki Tsubaki has come in, so that's the late change that Des Buckingham has executed. So talk about a disjointed build-up to a big game, Robbie. Losing their coach to food poisoning. Hello, Paddy Kisnorbo, watching on from the hotel room, and now they've had a late change to the 11 too.
Yeah, well, it's not the ideal circumstances, but I hope Paddy takes this in the right way. You're better off losing the coach than a Jamie McLaren, inverted commas. So he'll have to, unless of course he puts the sound down, he'll have to put up with us for the 90 minutes.
Florian Berenguer tweaked an ankle in the warm-up, so Sabaki comes in for him. Look at that record for Mitch Duke in Wanderers colours, almost a goal every other game, including 9 in his past 12 starts. While Jamie McLaren just loves taking on the team in red and black. 13 in 13. Some return for the man boasting 84 A-League goals now. So Mitch Duke gets the ball rolling in Tuesday night football. The crowd slowly building here on this midweek night. And cut out immediately by the energetic Duke. The pass intended for Roston Griffiths. And here goes young Tom Aquilina, who is a right footer. Prefers to play on the right-hand side, but at the start of the campaign, he was playing on the left. Big opportunity for him tonight, Robbie.
Yeah, it certainly is, and gets to play in his preferred position, of course, for his game and the balance of the team. A right footer on the right, left on Wilmering with his left foot on the left is much better for Carl Robertson. Well done, Subiaki, dispossessing Bacchus there, draws the foul. So a big moment for him as well with that late injury concern for Florian Berenguer, who's, unfortunately for him, didn't get to take the field. So that's a readjustment. Berenguer was very, very good against Sydney FC.
McLaren looking to play in Subaki, but straight to Natta instead, the teenage defender. Gets it back from Margush. Casually sides the ball to Troisi, and he puts a bit on it out in front of Mitch Duke, confident he could track that one down ahead of Atkinson, and he can keep it alive here. He's got support as well from Wilmering, who can deliver. He looks to go back to Dorrans, who's encouraged to shoot. And it's coming out by Curtis Good, but they're looking a little shaky here, City, as Wilmering deflects kindly for Tom Glover in goal.
Deflection off Nathaniel Atkinson, and took the pace off it as well, because Glover was slightly out of position, expecting this ball to get cut back. Deflection there, and he dives down to cover that near post.
And Naoki Subaki would have only done a warm-up fitting for a substitute. Berenguer ruled out very late after tweaking that ankle in the warm-up, so it might take a little while to get up to speed, but does have the advantage of youth. Man on loan from Yokohama F. Marinos. It's a clever ball by Noon, allowing Jamison to run onto it. Aquilina has brought him down there, put his body in the road, and Jamison had little choice but to go over.
Yeah, sort of trying to get up and impedes Jamison's clearly a free kick.
First start in 4 games for Aquilina as well. First time we've seen Tate Russell rested from that right wing back role since round 21 of last season. So Noon with the disguise, back to Jamison to clip it in. And Ziggy Gordon with the diving header clear. And the boot settles for the throw. Melbourne City back at the venue where they played in the club's first ever grand final in late August. Griffiths keeping it away from Duke. Delivered by Naboot. And Bacchus got there first, but could only tow it as far as Jamison. Craig Noon upended by Troisi. Into the feet of McLaren with McGowan at his back. It's all very narrow here for City. Connor Metcalf. Back to Good. Finds a little avenue out to Atkinson.
Wrong option there, Atkinson. He's just got to give that ball to Naboot. Naboot was in great touch as well against Sydney. They didn't have a bad player. Naboot on that right-hand side was devastating against Sydney, particularly in that first half.
Here he goes, Naboot. And Natta is cutting out plenty early on. Nuno Ray stepping up. Metcalf making the run in behind. Open up space here for Craig Noon. And Naboot knew he was offside. Didn't bother trying to get on the end of things as we say good evening, Mark Bosnich at pitch level.
Good evening to you, Brenton. Good evening to you, Robbie, and to all our viewers watching. A good start from both sides, you have to say. Must have been highly disruptive for Melbourne City to lose Berenguer right at the death during the warm-up, but they seem to adjust it quite well. And of course, like you said, Des Buckingham as well here barking out orders, but let's just go.
Sloppy turnover, and Jamie McLaren pounces. The Wanderers with a massive mistake, and you can't do that with the Socceroo in this kind of form. Jamie McLaren has 6 for the campaign, and Melbourne City in front 6 minutes in.
Well, it's a massive mistake. Bacchus cut out here. Noon feeds McLaren, and that's exactly who you want in that kind of situation. Jamie McLaren, he's still got a bit of work to do. That ball punched into him from there. Great first touch from McLaren. The second one's even better. He goes across Margouche. He's got no chance. Low and hard across the keeper. That is a fantastic finish, and they punish Western Sydney Wanderers for that mistake, trying to play out from the back. And he gets another goal. What's that? 14 in 14 against Western Sydney. Brilliant finish.
And VAR has cleared the offside that the Wanderers appealed for in vain. Ziggy Gordon was leading that protest. But they set the trap. Keanu Bacchus had his pass picked off. And didn't they get it in the back of the net in a hurry once they gained possession, Melbourne City. Atkinson turning Natta around, and Naboot will get there. And tried a little too much.
We should have tried to cross it because it was going quickly, skidding off the surface. Sprinklers were on here earlier, right up until kickoff. There's the cutout. Backus with a poor decision, but didn't they punish them? Moon fed it straight to McLaren. Brilliant first touch, and dispatched it low and hard across Margouche.
That replay confirming it was well and truly onside. It's one aspect of Keanu Backus's game that he might have to tidy up, Robbie. He does lose possession in dangerous parts of the pitch, and that was a case in point there.
Yeah, and you don't always pay for it like that, but that time they certainly did. And you know, coming out in that position, you know, you've got to be sure of your passes going square like that.
There's Jamison. Craig Noon's made a wonderful start to this game. Not just the assist for the goal, but some sharp work in other areas as well. And the Wanderers fall behind at home again. Here's Backus around Metcalf, those two Ollie Roos contenders. Aquilina with the nutmeg on Jamison. Uses Mitch Duke, and the cutback towards Aquilina. It was a beautiful touch initially. A back heel for Troisi might have worked. He didn't have eyes in the back of his head, and Backus has turned it over again. There's Noon. What about that for a diagonal? And Natta able to get his mop of hair on it.
They run little nutmeg on Scott Jamison, fed Mitchell Duke. Difficult one. It's good defending, actually. Austin Griffiths just stood his ground, didn't dive in.
Melbourne City have only played 7 games so far this season, 3 wins and 4 defeats. Looking for back-to-back victories against the two of the 3 Sydney teams. Atkinson down the line, and again Natta with a good read.
Yeah, he does that well. He reads it very well and covers his left fullback. Time and time again you see him ghosting him behind for that, exactly that ball. Made a really good impression, the young player, Natta.
Clever throw for Naboot, and this time he gets the corner. Andrew Naboot with good memories of this venue. Scored in his last game as a victory player here in the hub setup last season. A couple of goals in recent games against the Wanderers as well, including once scoring the goal of the season against them across town. Corner whipped in, and McGowan takes control. Back to Noon. And McGowan involved again. Last touch off McGowan only for another corner. What's going on there?
Well, he tried to do a sneaky one. He saw Margouche out of his goal.
He gets to take it again.
Yeah, he gets to take it again. Well, the ball wasn't anywhere near where it was supposed to be.
Wasn't quite the execution of Trent Alexander-Arnold, was it, for the famous Liverpool corner goal against Barcelona? Whipped in by Noon, and here's a chance for Metcalf. Could only chest it, and now the Wanderers might be able to spring the counter-attack. Good, knocked Troisi over, and the referee was happy with that kind of contact. You can hear what the fans thought of it. And now Noon, good-looking shape, and McLaren couldn't get on the end of things. It was a near thing.
Yeah, just not flat enough, and Noon's in good touch, isn't he? So positive. He might have got a foul for that, Troisi. He nudged in the back, but referee didn't give it. Noon's away and he's positive. Cuts inside, trying to bend that to the back post. McLaren was lurking, but just slightly overhit.
Cox hooking it over the top, and here's good v Troisi again. That time the centre half won the header cleanly. Gowan with Ziggy Gordon in support. Movement from Duke here. And good track that run. 9 years ago today, Curtis Good scored his first A-League goal as an 18-year-old against the Brisbane Roar, celebrating some kind of anniversary today. Aquilina. And here's Bacchus.
Nice and compact Melbourne City. Little space in between the lines for Troisi, who's going left to right to try and find space. The Boots changed wings with Craig Noon. And out here on the left-hand side, that's probably because of the corners he was taking out there. Maybe Paddy Kisnorbo was giving them license to change from time to time.
Wilmering, chance to shape up against Noon, who defended it well. Bursts away from Wilmering as well, and Natta across in cover.
It's great play because he's taken his team now from a defensive position into an attacking position in possession. Very good opening to the game from Craig Noon. Got the assist from Jamie McLaren. Metcalf has the bouncer there, and he bounced it back to a Wanderers player. That's good passing.
Poor giveaway by Metcalf, and the Wanderers go through the gears here. Aquilina upended. Cox uses Wilmering, and he can have another go at the lefty. Looking for Cox in the middle, and Gluffer will snaffle that.
Didn't quite get the cross right. He's in a good position twice there. He got a second bite at the cherry. Wilmering couldn't find the right delivery. It was a good move, though. One-touch football from the Wanderers.
It's gone. Yep. Way too early here. Well,
good flag.
Not sure why the flag's staying down. McLaren don't want to waste them, and Sabaki doesn't waste it. Now the offside flag comes.
Yeah, that one could have gone first time because it was well offside. This is the move. Cox feeds it to Wilmering. Just hit that cross, but he gets a second bite at it. Tries to dink it in, and Glover, good goalkeeping, comes out commanding in his 6-yard box, and there's the offside.
And they all watched it on the big screen as well, the fans. That's why there's a bit of a buzz going around here, but their team is trailing 15 minutes in here, Mark Bosnich.
Yes, they are. And the last time we were talking, it went straight into a goal, didn't it? Disruption or not for Melbourne City, they've not only taken the lead, but they're playing some really good stuff. But to be fair to both teams, they play a really good brand of football. There's no doubt about that. But this is the third game on the trot that Western Sydney Wanderers have gone 1-0 down. And it's something now that must be playing on their mind. But as soon as you see Melbourne City score that goal, they're starting to spray the ball here, there and everywhere, and really finding their confidence. And you have to say it's tribute, because when you do have an injury in a warm-up, as Robbie will tell you, it's not good because you make plans all week for a certain team and a certain way of playing. And not only that, they've had the couple of the fact, like I said, their coach as well is not being able to be on the bench, so they're doing well.
Nice link up between Wilmering and Cox, and Atkinson concedes the corner.
Yeah, it's a great recovery run, but Wilmering knows that he shouldn't have overhit that first touch, which allows Atkinson to get back in. He's in another very, very good position. They bodies in the box as well, the Wanderers, and all they get from that situation is a corner.
Well, they had umpteen corners the other day, didn't they? Against Adelaide United. It was a quite extraordinary stat. And this is a variation. And Jamie McLaren was guarding the one they wanted to go to. 5 players in the corner made their move. And now almost flicking off the head of Duke, who goes again against Glover. And the referee happy to let play on. Curtis Good has been rock solid so far. Couldn't quite keep that one in. City looking to create a turnover here.
It's a great press from Melbourne City. Look, they're all together and they make wonders go all the way back to Margouche.
Good header from Aquilina. Cox will get it back here. And Duke's making his run. Those two are flatmates, of course. Glover should get there first ahead of Mitch Duke. There's a bit of panic all around the pitch at times in this one. It's frenetic. Tempo is high. Lovely deft touch from Wilmering. Duke back to Troisi. And good. Didn't let his keeper get involved. Now Glover gets a touch. Risky pass by Jamison, but he found the mark.
It was a good pass up. Good ball speed from both sides. And Atkinson now with some room to move.
The Wanderers playing 4 fixtures out of 5 at home, starting with that game against Adelaide United. They're going to trip to Ballarat this weekend and then back here for 2 more. When you get that run of home fixtures, you want to make the most of it. So far, a loss against the Reds and behind against City. Coming together there after Ziggy Gordon cleared. Noon clattered into him. And came off second best. A headache for Noon, and potentially another one for Des Buckingham, who's calling the shots tonight. Still in the history books as the youngest ever A-League coach. He was 31 when he took over the Wellington Phoenix. Had 19 games in charge for 6 wins, 7 defeats. And he's got Neil Young alongside him, the goalkeeping coach. Des Buckingham, the assistant coach of Melbourne City, calling the shots. If you joined us late, because Paddy Kisnorbo is back here in Sydney after waking up with an upset stomach this morning and not being fit for work tonight. He might have to stay in Sydney a little bit longer than the players as well. Won't be hopping on a flight if he's still crook tomorrow. Jamison's passing has been on point. Finds his fellow fullback. And Atkinson kept on running. Neat return from the boot. Natta and Wilmering trying to slow down Nathaniel Atkinson. And out for another corner. The Wanderers aren't winning the corner count this week yet. 3-1 in favour of the visitors. All the way through for Naboots, and he'll be upset not to get that one on target.
Yeah, it's a good chance. Pulled out, he was on the back post, and he's just checked back around, and it's a free header. Look at him, he comes back inside, loses Bacchus. He gets it all wrong, his header. That's a really good chance.
Tall ball out by Aquilina. No one really presenting for him either. Natta did well in the aerial duel against Naboot. It's Troisi. Right through the middle for Dorrans. Back to Gordon as the Scots combine. Lovely ball from Dorrans to Cox in the pocket, and Bacchus whipped it across the face. And no one really threatening to get on the end of it.
Yeah, I think it's just overhit. I don't think anyone could have got onto that. Nice little move, good run from Bacchus. Plays it in early. It's way in front of those two advancing Wanderers players.
Look at the bench behind Carl Robinson and the attacking talent that he has at his disposal. Kamau, Abini, Yeboah, Jordan Much, Nikolai Muller. And he goes with Simon Cox, who's started 8 of 10 games this season. He's only scored 1 goal in his past 15 starts. But as we saw in that previous move, is he more of a link-up player than an out-and-out striker for the Wanderers? Or?
Well, I think at the moment that's, you know, and obviously we're not at training, so we don't know what those combinations are like at training, but I think they like the way him and Mitch Duke partner each other. But you're right, there's so many options on that bench, and you know, Simon Cox would know. He is a striker, and he knows that is not enough for him. 1 goal in 15.
Mark Bosnich, where do you think the best strike combination might wind up for Carl Robinson?
Well, that will become apparent to him as the season unfolds. We're not even halfway through the season just at this moment in time. It just underlines the fact as well that sometimes when you know, there's good and bad in everything. When you've got so many good options, sometimes that can be a good thing, sometimes it can be a bad thing because you don't know exactly what your starting 11 is. Right here, right now, the key for Wanderers is that Aquilani, and on the other side, Aquilina, and on the other side, Daniel Wormering. They need to hit the touch lines because Melbourne City are so narrow in the way that they're defending and so set up structurally really well. They need to move them around, and that's where the likes of Troisi will get a little bit more time and space, and especially the man you just mentioned in Simon Cox. And nothing wrong as well for those when they're playing out the back with City are closing them down so well to dink those little balls into Fox. He is Cox rather. He is showing every time short. There's nothing wrong with that little dink ball into him.
McGowan with purpose, able to clear upfield. Nicked into the air by Duke, and it came down for Cox. Here goes Bacchus with a burst. Wolmering. Dorrans. And City getting plenty of players back, and Jamison able to clear. A little stumble there by Dorrans. Allows Sabaki to get his head up. And Gordon with a beautifully timed challenge. Not his throw, though.
Sabaki getting away from Dorrans, but Ziggy Gordon, as we've seen so often, very strong in the challenge and times his tackle perfectly. It was another attack by the Wanderers that promised, but didn't produce anything.
Again, a little no-looker from Jamison to find McLaren. Sabaki able to turn and utilising the boot. Wanderers had a line of 6 at the back for a moment there. City stroking it around with confidence. McLaren hooking it out to an offside. Andrew Naboot. He was only about a metre offside that time, and the flag was up almost instantly. Carney Robinson, the assistant on that far side. Flicked off the head of Good, and Nuno Reis had dropped back just in case. City are set to play their next 6 games in Melbourne, so if they could take a positive result from Sydney tonight, they can get on a roll, you sense, as Naboot delivers, and Natta again cutting things out. Seventh game for the 18-year-old. Debuted early this season. McLaren's passing has been superb so far. A layoff for Sabaki. Craig Noon prevents the throw, but careless pass, not punished. Pass wasn't on from Noon either. There's no damage being done at the moment when City turn it over. Metcalf, beautiful touch. The boot kills it for Sabaki. Atkinson is there in space. Stands it up back post, and McLaren hunts down his own flick. Noon got a clear nudge again. Well, Sean Evans is happy if you nudge blokes in the back. As long as you use your shoulder, it's all above board. As Duke flicks it out in front of Aquilina, who may have gotten away with a potential free kick on the edge of the area here.
You see, accelerates inside, and I think that's a foul for me. It's not shoulder to shoulder, it's a shove.
McLaren is really busy tonight.
Not losing possession, chested that one down, played it back. Doesn't overcomplicate his game in that middle third, Jamie McLaren. Always just looking to lay off and move again.
Errant touch from Sabaki. Teresi couldn't find Mitch Duke.
No, and that's the problem at the moment. It's you know, as they approach that final third, it's this pass selection, and it's just not being what it needs to be to put that Melbourne City defence under pressure. You're controlling it defensively very, very well. Good, and Nuno Reis.
City have had the full week to prepare for this game after beating Sydney FC last Tuesday night. Metcalf, what about that pass? That had to be precise with Cox in the vicinity. Jamison, as is City's way, just tucking in and being a passing option as a fullback. What a ball it was as well for Andrew Naboot, turning Natter inside out. Brilliant goal, so very nearly for Naboot. He can't believe it comes back off the post, straight to him.
What a brilliant action. Takes on Nada and twisted him one way then the other. Superb pass out from Jamison. Naboot, you can't leave him in this kind of space, one-on-one, and he's aggressive and positive, and he's so unlucky not to score Melbourne City's second goal. Crashes off the post, right idea, low and hard across the keeper, and he knows how unlucky he is. And I said he was in great form against Sydney. Just get him the ball and try and get him isolated on either Natter or Will Moringa, because in his kind of mood at the moment, you back him one-on-one in that kind of situation.
Which chance was easier, the first strike or the second after it rebounded back to him, you reckon? He didn't do much with the second one. Here he is again, outside of the boot like he did for a famous goal against the Wanderers. This time out in front of Noon. And Naboot back across the face. I think it was going wide, but Gordon cleared the danger.
Well, they're cutting to shreds in that wide area. So when the fullbacks are high and wide, massive gap in behind Aquilina, and it drags out of centre half. Noon with a great ball to the back post, and that was across the face. It wasn't on target. McLaren had already gone. What about that for a pass? Outside of the boot. Both wingers in fine form for Melbourne City. And of course, wingers can't perform if they're not getting service. So some of those diagonals, that one out to Naboot from Jamison was superb.
What about that stat you saw a moment ago? 80% of possession, 82 in fact for Melbourne City in the last few minutes. And the Wanderers fans are getting restless here. Their team is being played off the park. Lucky to be just one goal behind. Here's a chance. What can they do this time in possession? Bacchus has very little to go to. Just over half an hour gone, and they look like a team that needs some fresh legs out there or something to spark them.
Well, that back three's getting in trouble because they're staying very narrow. And they've only got McLaren to pick up, really. The Nabut and Noon are keeping their width. So when the fullbacks, Wilmering and Aquilina, go high, it's not that they're cheating, but the Melbourne City, they've got enough midfielders in there because it's 1-on-3 at the other end. And Nabut, in particular, has been left completely alone on a few occasions. Noon as well.
That time McGowan was proactive defensively. And Simon Cox looking for Troisi, who's made the run in behind Jamison. What can James Troisi do? He can't bend it in that top corner.
Yeah, when he cut inside, he just didn't shift it enough. And he sort of had to dig it out. He couldn't wrap his boot around it. But a good counter-attack, this one. Cox plays it at the right time. Troisi, here he comes back. And that didn't shift it quite enough. And sort of had to dig it out. And it's well off target in the end.
Good, under a bit of pressure, nearly left it behind. Bacchus with a great win there, and Roston Griffiths with an important stretch of his long legs. The Wanderers were trying to capitalise on an error like City did at the other end. What a pass for Craig Noon, and well defended by Aquilina. Griffiths able to turn and bend one out towards Craig Noon. Got to be a great watch for the Melbourne City fans from back home in Victoria. The way their team is playing on enemy territory tonight. Atkinson beautiful. McLaren looking for teammates. And they'll get a corner.
Well, they stayed defensively with their players there, Western Sydney Wanderers, but cut open again. Atkinson cutting inside that little diagonal into the inside right channel from Jamie McLaren. He was looking for Subaki. Wanderers had enough players there.
They managed to get in the boot free for a header. With the last one swung in. This time it's Curtis Good trying to get there. McGowan got his head on it. Jamison never turns down a shot to strike in that situation. Sabaki brings it down. Roston Griffiths sliding it through. It breaks for Metcalf very nearly. Important intervention from Bacchus.
And another corner. Roston Griffiths just taking that. That's on target. Ziggy Gordon with the block, but it was to come back and created another chance. Good little turn there from Griffiths, trying to play McLaren. Natter across in a desperate challenge as Craig Noon was about to pull the trigger.
Roll to Noon. A little 2-on-1 here if City want to use it. Dorrans saw what was coming. City setting up their throw-in routine, and Daniel Margush is vocal at the moment. Jamison kept it in the end for Metcalf. It's a poor touch by Nabut. Wilmering, lovely pass. Cox to his housemate, intended for Duke, but the radar was off. That's a bonus free kick in the end as Cox hit the deck.
Yeah, Jamison not happy. There wasn't a lot in it. That ball cut out by Good, and Cox got another sniff at it. It probably is a foul. Just.
Similar to those other two that weren't given, which might add to the frustration for Jamison. Just opening up the angle there. Graham Dorrans cleverly, with the referee having his back turned for a moment. Troisi the lefty, Dorrans the right-footed option. Troisi bends it, looking for a little flick in the middle. And well defended by City.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was a good ball in. Dorrans was in there, couldn't get that touch. Just needed to, got a little flick on there. Watch this, he's right in the thick of it. If he just gets a touch there, it might have been a chance, but like you said, very well defended.
It was Cox in the middle, of course.
Sorry, it was Cox.
Now the Wanderers enjoying a decent spell in City's half. They've been few and far between. Aquilina, numbers forward here. Great ball in, and they both went for the same ball, the two strikers, and bamboozled one another. Cox and Duke.
Yeah, got in each other's way, because it was a very good ball in from Aquilina.
Natta playing with his head up, and Duke brings it down. Cox playing behind him. Still Simon Cox trying to work an angle towards Aquilina, and Bacchus plays for a penalty. The referee says you can go in the book for that, for simulation and trying to con the referee.
And Bacchus doesn't complain, so referee got it right. Ricochet there off Aquilina. Bacchus arrives, and there's no contact.
Clips his own feet, doesn't he, to try and make out that he was upended by Curtis Good. Sean Evans had a great view of it. Hasn't been a great half for Keanu Bacchus. Mark Bosnich, what have you made of it all?
Well, first and foremost, you have to say some of the passing and play from Melbourne City has been absolutely exquisite. They are highly organised, and just to underline Robbie's point, when you are playing three at the back, like Western Sydney Wanderers are playing, and we've said this all season with teams playing three at the back, when the other team is playing just one up the front, one of those men have to go into midfield, or you're going to get completely outnumbered.
Here's McLaren in behind, getting the better of Natta, and then scooping his shot. Another chance for City.
Yeah, when he comes back, he's slightly stretching for it, and he gets underneath it, but another ball over the top, and that little run from McLaren, he does that so well. He sort of stabbed at it, didn't he? Comes back inside on his left, and always going over the crossbar.
Mark Bosnich certainly adding to the excitement levels. Every time we go to him, it's either a goal or a near miss.
I was just about to say that, Speedy.
You're on fire, boss. For the neutrals.
I'm scared to talk.
We'll be hearing from you at half-time, of course. Bozza and Robbie to take you through the first half highlights.
But just to finish off what Robbie was saying, it's so spot on that when you've got three players at the back, those two outside centre backs, like you see now, Mark Natta, he needs to go out to be the left back, and Ziggy Gordon on the other side.
Pulling them to pieces here. Naboots just ran out of room.
Close out. He looks so sharp, Naboot. Again, very positive and hugging that touchline, and it's worked well for them.
Atkinson won the header. Spins just the right side of the corner flag for the Wanderers. RBB finding their voice. Wonderful acoustics here at Bank West. Sounds like there's 30,000 in here. As Atkinson again just running across the byline. do these two teams reflect on this scoreline right now? Melbourne City will feel like they're being shortchanged, and the Wanderers are thinking, how do we get into this game?
Yeah, and that's the way it is for both of them at the moment. And Melbourne City will feel they should be a couple up at least, given what they've produced in this first half. But the Wanderers, I think Carl Robinson will be very relieved to go in at 1-0. Still a few minutes to go to achieve that.
Some touch by Jamison. Savaki finds an angle for Noon to hit it first time, and it's a kind deflection of Aquilina.
See that distance there from Wilmering and the two players up front is too far.
Here's Bacchus again under pressure. Savaki a little over eager to create the turnover that time. Towering over the top of Mitchell Duke, who asked for a free kick, and the advantage was signalled, so he would have gotten it. Dorrance hoping to find Aquilina, but Jamison in the road. Noon brought it down for Aquilina here. And then Troisi not tripped up by Griffiths. The back heel comes off for City. Of two Wanderers going for the same ball there, muddling it up. Brilliant switch by Atkinson. Savaki's got Captain Jamison alongside here. City have settled so well for that late change to the starting lineup. No Florent Berenguer, who's influential to the way they want to play their football. No Adrian Luna, who was one of the stars in that win over Sydney FC. You wouldn't know, they're missing key personnel though. There's Buckingham ready for his half-time team talk. Did great things with the New Zealand under-20s and the under-23s. Qualified New Zealand for the Olympics. Recorded back-to-back wins in a World Cup at under-20 level for the first time in New Zealand football history. So he's got a pretty handy CV for a bloke in his mid-30s. He's got big aspirations, of course.
Maybe better not get sick too often.
Just about the final play of the half, so the Wanderers sending players forward here for Dorrans to try and drop it in. Glover stays. McLaren picked up the second ball, gave it back to Bacchus, who gave it back to Naboot. Sabaki wants Naboot to try and bend one his way. Couldn't find a way around Wilmering on this occasion, and that'll just about be the first half over. Some performance again by Melbourne City. Electric in this first half at Bankwest, and Jamie McLaren with his 14th in as many games against Western Sydney. His goal separates the two teams. It could have been anything, but it is. Melbourne City 1, Western Sydney 0 at the break. Plenty of work to do for Carl Robinson in his half-time address, and he must also ponder what he does with all of that attacking talent on the bench. Kamau, Abini, Yeboah, Nikolai Muller. Will there be some half-time changes for the team on the quick backup from defeat here on Saturday evening against Adelaide United? Melbourne City looking to make it 6 points out of 6 against Sydney teams after beating the Sky Blues last week on the Tuesday night, and this week in control against the Red and Black of Western Sydney. We can go down to Mark Bosnich now.
Thank you very much, Brenton. Andrew Naboo, devastating first half. It must be said, you probably should be up by more. You know I'm going to ask you, that shot, surely when it left your foot, you thought goal?
Yeah, I've been working on that sort of angle all week, and I thought for sure it's gone in, but I almost played a 1-2 with the post, so and that was unlucky not to go in.
And listen, it was a bit of a disruptive start with Berenguer getting injured during the warm-up, and obviously a manager not being here because he's ill. But you guys looked as organised and played as well as I've seen you all season.
Yeah, nothing changed for us really. We know Flo was touch and go after the warm-up, but Naoki came in and he's done a wonderful job for us. But we chop and change during the week to make sure everyone's ready. So PK not being here to experience it is unlucky, but you know, Des is doing a great job and everyone's ready as usual.
I'll let you get back to the dressing room.
Thanks, Bozza.
No worries. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, here from Bankwest Stadium, the home of the Western Sydney Wanderers. The hosts 1-0 down to an exceptional Melbourne City as we go to the break.
This is what a new season can bring. Every moment counts, man. Well, here we go. Oh! What a way to start round one this is. A couple of heavyweights. Two attacking powerhouses. Just about the best in the business. It's an absolute feast.
Athlete's foot playing on your mind? Fight the fungi with Caniston once daily. The no mess, no touch applicator helps to prevent cross-infection and makes it easy to kick athlete's foot. Try Caniston once daily athlete's foot cream.
All right, let's see what it's got. Comfort, bucket loads. Now for some punishment. It's tough, really tough. But smart. Capable, you could say that. Just one more thing. Your turn. Brand new Mazda BT50, the complete package.
Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online. Allianz, supporting Australians for over 100 years, no matter the weather. Search for a quote today.
Yeah, you're good to go, mate.
That's so nice.
Time to escape, cause I'm in need of warmer weather.
You guys need a hand?
Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm doing far and wide.
Need a hand, mate?
Also on a booking, of course, after trying to buy a penalty. Much gets his opportunity. 45 minutes coming up for the man with 78 Premier League games to his credit, and the coach of the Wanderers, Carl Robinson, joins us now. Why have you made that change?
Just because I don't want to give the referee a chance of brandishing another yellow card and playing with 10 men against a very good team.
Did you ponder any other changes as well with all that attacking talent you've got?
Yeah, I'll give him 10 or 15 minutes and I'll see how the first 15 minutes go of this game, and then we'll see.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
The goal scorer, Jamie McLaren, gets the second half underway. Melbourne City feel like they're in control, but they're only 1-0 up, and last week against Sydney FC they were 3-0 up, Robbie, and only just held on in the end.
Yeah, and I think they will have talked about that as well. So they don't want, that intensity to drop. But you would expect, and I think they would expect, some reaction from the Wanderers. And if it stays the way it is, and if the pattern's still the same, you can be sure that 10 to 15 minutes, the changes will come, as Carl Robinson just said.
Boot inside for Sabaki, and Much's first contribution is to earn a free kick. I often pose that question when someone in Keanu Bacchus's position picks up a booking. Do you ponder taking them off at half-time? And Carl Robinson said that was part of his thinking. Smart management, you would have thought. Picked up that yellow card 39 minutes into this game.
Yeah, well, if I was a player, you substituted every player that gets a yellow card around the world. Seems to be a lot of players coming off.
Has been red carded 3 times in his career, Keanu Bacchus. Lovely ball out in front of Cox. Turns it back inside for Troisi, who looks for Duke. Aquilina was another option that he could have gone to. Not quite pulling the right reins, the Wanderers, yet in this contest. Tough one for McLaren in amongst a couple of tall opponents. Played it cleverly, almost left both of them injured by letting them go for the same ball again. And now Naboots. McLaren trying to use his speed, but Natta has plenty. I've mentioned his baseball pedigree in the past, Mark Natta, and they used to use him to steal bases. And they only do that with speedsters in that code. He's made a nice switch over to this code after going to a Little League World Series in the United States as a young baseballer. Concern now for Nuno Reis, the Portuguese defender. After that 50-50 with Simon Cox.
Yeah, just accidental, just cops a little bit there, and it's a painful one.
They went all the way to the final in that Under-20 World Cup. Portugal beaten by Brazil. What a future this guy has, Mark Natta, 18 years of age, part of the academy at the Wanderers, breaking into the first team, perhaps ahead of schedule. Looks the part. He's got a wonderful left boot. Will Nuno Reis be able to go on here? Got young Kieran Stokes on the bench as cover. Central defence. Roston Griffiths could slip back there if he can't go on. It's going to leave a bruise, that's for sure. The contact from Cox. All the way through for McLaren, and the deflection of Ziggy Gordon went a long way wide in the end for a moment. It was heart and mouth for Wanderers fans.
Yeah, luckily it doesn't glance off him, because It's dangerous, headed down and pulls the trigger straight away. I often see that. Just poke a leg out and it flies past the keeper. As you said, missed by quite some distance. And just that long ball causing problems for the Wanderers' defence.
Nuno Reis in there now after recovering from that knock. And it's take 2 for Craig Noon.
Yeah, Griffiths dangerous at set pieces. Curtis Good as well, an obvious target.
Noon delivering. Margush came and then backtracked. And it's out off a Wanderer's head.
You know, it was a wicked ball then, wasn't it? Griffiths came towards that near post and he had it flat with a lot of pace right to the middle of the goal.
Margush, not the tallest keeper. Tough for him to come and command his area at times. Noon will bend it away from him here. And Cox only as far as Atkinson. And they'll get another one, City. Not often you win a corner count by double digits and then lose one by double digits in the next game, but that's on the cards at the moment. 9 of the first 10 corners have gone the way of the visitors. Now Noon. Oh, the arm was raised there. Craig Noon is saying go to VAR. Unnatural position. James Troisi, has he given away a penalty here? We'll know in a moment.
Terrific feint from Craig Noon there, and then
VAR is saying let me check it out, and the VAR is Alex King in the ear of Sean Evans. It's a tough one on that angle to know where the first point of contact is, but if it's with the outstretched arm, then Troisi would be in bother. What do we see the ball striking here? I think he'll get away with it. No, Sean Evans is going to go and have a look for himself, so Alex King can't be definitive, but he thinks it's worth the referee making the final call on this one. We saw this the other day. Sean Evans was the VAR, and he asked Jonathan Barrero to come over and look at a penalty decision in Newcastle. Barrero said, I'm not having it. It's not a spot kick. Evans was adamant it was. So similar situation here. Right in front of Mark Bosnich, who can eavesdrop on what Sean Evans is talking to the VAR centre about. If it strikes the hand there, and that's the first point of contact, then it's a pen, but can that be definitively worked out? Probably it can on that replay. Robbie, what do you think?
I think that's the first point of contact, so he could be in trouble.
Sean Evans, I think, is going to make the call that it is a spot kick, and Melbourne City have a chance to double their advantage here. Jamie McLaren, the obvious candidate.
I think you saw the body language of James Troisi, Carl Robinson not happy, but I think when it happened and Noon was appealing, Troisi looked concerned. There, I have to say, from that angle, that's the first point of contact, and it's a clear handball. Body's hands in an unnatural position.
This to be better than a goal a game against Western Sydney for Jamie McLaren. He's got 14 in 14 against them, and from the penalty spot in his A-League career, 12 from 14. He's only been denied twice. Faces up against Margush here. Jamie McLaren fires it into the roof of the net with a quite stunning penalty. He's got 2 tonight, and it's a big result coming up for Melbourne City, the way this is tracking.
Well, that's unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable. High into the roof of the net, no chance for the goalkeeper there. Just put his head down. Here's the incident. looks clearly like that was the first point of contact, so the right decision's been made. And we'll look at this. Puts his head down and just smashes that into the back of the net. Whistled through the air.
That is his 5th brace against Western Sydney. Can he make it a hat-trick against them for the first time? He's got plenty of time to do that. What a goal scorer he has been in the A-League. He's still only 27. And away we go. The Wanderers now 2 behind. Mark Bosnich, what did you make of it all?
Well, when I saw it in quick motion, I thought penalty. And when I saw it in slow motion, it even confirmed it even more. For me, it was a definite penalty, no doubt about that. And well tucked away, you have to say, by Jamie McLaren. But now's the time for changes for Western Sydney Wanderers. Just before that incident, I was actually going to come on and say, you know, I think I've seen enough in his second half, and I'm sure that Carl Robinson and his staff have seen enough, that they just don't look on those players tonight in terms of being sharp, in terms of really being at it. It's time for changes for the Wanderers, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, and it looks like, and I feel that probably didn't mention in the first half, but the very short turnaround has certainly affected them. Melbourne City is sharper, first to the ball, first to the second balls, importantly. Some fresh legs are in order. You know, they've got some players on the bench who've been in pretty good form. Bruce Kamau's one for me that's always had a terrific impact off the bench for the Wanderers, but it's a mountain to climb now, but they still have time.
Did make 3 changes to freshen up the lineup, but on this evidence, as you say, maybe they needed a few more.
We did see, remember, MacArthur.
Just butt in here, because there's breaking news on the Socceroos front tonight. There's the Socceroos coach, Graham Arnold, of course. May 31 to June 15, the Socceroos will be playing 4 World Cup qualifiers in a centralised location, so there'll be no trip to Nepal at the end of this month for that game that was scheduled. And there's the brain staff. Andrew Clark and Tony Vidmar watching the action with Graham Arnold, who's the Olyroos coach, of course, looking at potential candidates to become Olympians come July. And it's going to play havoc with some A-League teams, isn't it, at the business end of the season as well, that 2-week period, and maybe 3 weeks, I suppose, when you want to take teams into a camp for a 4-game scenario, Robbie.
Well, certainly will do, because there's going to be quite a number of A-League players involved, and of course that will be coming up to finals time, or might be during finals time, some of that. So, but that is positive news for on the national team front.
Tony Vidmar just letting the conveyor of the beers know that we're on camera here. Don't look like lager louts. Sabaki chasing against Wilmering. Brought under control by the Japanese youngster.
Griffiths playing an important role for Melbourne City, just screening in front of the back 4 and always offering himself up as the one, as an outlet through the middle. You see him out there pointing and on his teammates, and I'm sure he's saying stay switched on. We talked about, the 3-0 up against Sydney, and the introduction to Ninkovic absolutely turned the game on its head.
Simon Cox on the end of the quickly taken throw by Troisi. Now the reverse ball. There's a man at the back post. And at the near post, it was Duke.
That's their best chance. Right there.
Back in by Much. And blocker in the road. Dorrans whips it in. And Glover will claim ahead of Troisi.
Well, what a fantastic opportunity for the Wanderers. He just missed it. Clever from Cox. No-look pass, and this can't ask any more. And Duke's there. He gets nothing on it.
the passing lane by Natta. Otherwise, Naboot was away. Approaching the hour mark. And those subs for Western Sydney still warming up behind the goal, which they attack. No one summons towards halfway just yet. Up off the hand of Sabaki. Time stood still, and that sums up the Wanderers' night. Much and Troisi both tried to kick the ball a mile at the same time. It's not a great look communication-wise tonight on multiple fronts.
Troisi was trying to play, Aquilina was on. It's not, you know, each other's way.
Frustration in the stands here at Bankwest. They want to see more from their team. Come out on a Tuesday night. Watching them slump to this 2-0 deficit. That's a clean win in midfield by Griffiths. Took it off Much. And Atkinson has options in the middle. Margush elects to punch. And finds a teammate. Cox, again, he's playing that link-up role so well. But, they love their number 10 to score goals too. Want Mitch Duke to be on the end of things. Is that going to work? Is that sustainable?
Well, Cox and Troisi are just involved in what probably should have been a Wanderers goal. Ball to the near post just minutes ago. Mitchell Duke just completely missed it.
Handy spot here for Dorrans to bend one. Pretty small wall. 3 in there for Tom Glover. And Dorrans does go direct. The wall splits, and Much swung a leg at it and didn't look like it.
A difficult one to control. Had to take it quick. Came to him quick as well on the half volley. You see, that one might have been on target, so the wall did its job. And Much with a lot to do, couldn't produce.
Did score 7 goals in the Premier League with Cardiff City. Andrew Naboot stayed down here. Next to the bench. Want to be able to go on. Troisi, little deflection that favoured the goalkeeper. Andrew Naboot still talking to the assistant about why he was in a crumpled heap there. As the yellow card comes out for Jordan Much, who replaced the booked Keanu Bacchus at half-time, of course. His best little period for the 29-year-old Englishman. Spent time in the MLS under Carl Robinson with Vancouver. Looks like the boot's okay. Sabaki. Connor Metcalf. Scott Jamison just pausing on his run. All became a bit clunky on that occasion for City. First time we said that tonight. Cox, brilliant play. Open up the space here for Aquilina. It's another heavy touch by a Wanderer in an attacking position.
Yeah, that's a wasted opportunity. 2-on-2. You know, Race comes across. Timed his run perfectly, but the touch from Aquilina not good enough.
Not too far away from big changes for Western Sydney. Rage might have copped it in the same spot again, and when it was a heavy bruising the first time around, this doesn't tickle when you get the second follow-up effort. Stretching to get there ahead of Aquilina. Simon Cox will make way. Bernie Abini on for him, and James Troisi, his number also up for Bruce Kamau. Will be having a little word in Daniel Wilmering's ear on the way past, saying, let's do it again, hey? Because they've done it twice. Wilmering for Kamau against Wellington, and Wilmering for Kamau against Adelaide United. The only shame for the Wanderers is that Melbourne City are playing in a yellow shirt tonight. It's been a significant delay here. Nuno Reis eventually makes his way off the pitch. Gone in the second half. Wilmering the way back to Much. Here's Kamau, first touch. Duke let it roll for Abini, who put it out in front of Wilmering, forced him wide. Decent delivery here, and there were 3 Melbourne City players.
Yeah, great defending, because we know Mitchell Duke, that kind of ball is so dangerous.
Now whipped in by Aquilina, too close to the keeper. Better signs already. The Wanderers might be able to get back into this contest. They are attacking the RBB end. And Nabuk played himself into trouble there. One back high up the pitch by the Wanderers. Much pulls it back, finds the feet of Wilmering. Couldn't link up with Abini. Melbourne City make their change. Nuno Reis has succumbed to the double blow on his ankle or heel. Ben Garuccio is on. Roston Griffiths is back in the heart of defence. Wilmering, wonderful ball in for Abini against Roston Griffiths. And the shot from Much will curl just wide, but the Wanderers are mounting a challenge finally.
Oh, just had pure numbers in the box there. That one was always bending wide. The crowd from behind the goal would have thought that was pretty close, but from leaving the boot, it was always bending away. Glover slightly worried, but as you can see, this is by quite so much, but that's better. At least there's some pressure on Melbourne City.
Not going to give us the pun intended, or no pun intended there? Didn't miss by much? Didn't even pick it up, Robbie. That's good work by yourself.
Yes,
as we go down to Bozza, what do you make of the mood right now?
Well, the mood is very, very good here for Melbourne City, and rightfully so. They've handled pretty much everything that Western Sydney Wanderers have thrown at them and played some absolutely exceptional stuff. I thought those changes from Wanderers had to happen, but they had to happen early, but they're better late than never, put it that way. And I still think some more changes have to be made as well. The thing that they've got to sort out is that the times they've most looked like scoring, hang on.
Noon into the area. And off Much, and he's offside here. McLaren by a couple of metres. Flag goes up. We don't need it now as Margush gathers, and the Wanderers try and take it the other way.
Now, the times that Western Sydney Wanderers look most dangerous tonight is when they've got wide and put really good crosses in. So they need Wilmering, they need Aquilani to go wide, or even Bruce Kamau to go wide, and they start to then make Melbourne City look a little bit vulnerable, or else this is just going to be an absolute cakewalk, which it has been thus far, to be fair.
The ball's never on from Atkinson. Much better options there, but hasn't made many wrong decisions. Melbourne City right fullback. Now they'll start to get a few more questions. There'll be a bit more energy about the Wanderers with Kamau and Abini. It should run out for the Wanderers, and you know, I think what they need to try and do up front there is just create some panic, if they can, in Melbourne City's defence, as they did with that action before when Jordan Much didn't miss by much.
And what they can do now is work off the flick-ons of Mitch Duke. Abini and Kamau can try and run on to
Well, that's
those
what you've got to
flick-ons.
do. Yeah, they've got to get close. When the ball goes up, Duke quite often wins those aerial duels. Just get close to him.
Duke finds the feet of Abini. Much more potent strike force out there now for the Wanderers. And brilliant defending at his near post from Roston Griffiths. But he's reading the riot act to teammates right now.
He's so well, you know, he's the screening midfielder, but he senses that danger.
He's back in defence now with Nico Raish gone. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He was a screening defender, and now he's back taking control.
Great ball in from Wilmering. Expert defending by Good. Aquilina, what a ball! Glover kept it out with a remarkable save. At a venue where he nearly won a Joe Marston medal last season. It keeps the advantage at 2.
Well, the ball back in, the volley from Aquilina was absolutely brilliant. What a save. Just made himself big. And Kamau would have thought he'd scored. Look at that for a ball from Aquilina. You know, he's stretching a little bit for it, Kamau, and if he can just head it back from where it come from a little bit more, he would have scored. But credit the keeper with a terrific save. And Roston Griffiths with that final header.
All the way through to Natter, who just mistimed his jump. Melbourne City under the pump, but they've established that handy lead. Abini. Roston Griffiths again in the road. He's got very little to go to. Wonderful ball out of defence, found McLaren, and here goes Naboot on the counter-attack. Sizing up Wilmering, who did enough in the end. Just looks like an attack that is going to create chances and make things happen, and the Wanderers are playing at home, so is this what they could do from the start of a game, or is it only opening up because Melbourne City are tiring here, Robbie?
No, I think the change of formation, and I've said repeatedly that Kamau's always made an impact off the bench. There's just more energy about him.
Could they start with this lineup?
I'm sure they could. Full-time professionals, there's a number of combinations they could start with, and this would be one of them if they wanted to. Nikolai Muller on the bench as well.
Kwame Yeboah had a couple of handy games recently.
Yep. He's got a lot of options. Obviously did say that can be a good thing, but maybe also can be a bad thing. And
it is their 10th game of the season here today. I wonder when we'll know what the preferred 11 is for Carl Robinson, when he will know. Is it going to take 13, 14 games? Is that a fairer time frame?
Well, it's completely up to him.
Been beaten 3 times as an A-League coach in his first 19 games. 9 wins, 7 draws. Did wonderful things in Newcastle. Just the 3 wins so far this season for Western Sydney. After a strong and aggressive recruitment drive. Throw for Dorrans. Abini's presenting well, but Roston Griffiths again able to stretch out those long legs of his. Suspicion of a high boot there by Naboot against Natter. Abini into the area. Both players go down. Referee lets it roll for now. For Much. Header from Aquilina. And he couldn't keep it down. Did he mistime the jump?
Another big chance, and it's, well, to be brutally honest, it's quite an awful header from Aquilina. He should do a lot better. Roston Griffiths, I'm saying he's held back there. He allowed to play on this. A terrific ball. Just hangs it up to the back post. You should at least be hitting the target there. Just didn't look like it at all, technically, and a great header.
I saw Mitch Duke on that replay looking at Aquilina's header thinking, if only that was me, because he loves that kind of service to try and bury a header, Mitch Duke.
Well, I just wonder how much young players practice heading these days when I see that.
Is it back in the curriculum? Did it ever leave? Here's one to chase.
Glover would be favourite for that. But it did, you know, you're not being all serious about it. There is, you know, a lot of concern with young players heading the ball on the concussion and what it does to the brain in the long term. In fact, in England, it's been outlawed at training from, I think, up until under 12s, and allowed to practice heading at training.
Well, at late notice, Savaki got the call up, and he's given 75 minutes of great service out there for Melbourne City tonight. Late call in for Florent Berenguer, who went down in the warm-up with a tweaked ankle. So Taras Gamulka, a more defensive-minded midfielder, on to replace him and give some support to Connor Metcalf in that part of the pitch. Inside the final 15 minutes of the 90, could be a decent chunk of stoppage time at the end of it all, so probably another 20 minutes or so. Mark Bosnich, is that enough time for Western Sydney?
Well, of course there's enough time, but unfortunately the way that they've been playing, it looks as though at this moment in time, and even with the limited chances that they had, it would take another 2 days for them to score. Always get suspicious of sides, any sides in the world, when they starting to play when they go 1 or 2 goals down, and that's unfortunately what's been happening with Wanderers in these last 3 games. So, but look, they've got to put that all behind them and throw everything at Melbourne City. I'd rather go down 3 or 4-0 and sort of, you know, than just sort of wait around and go down 2-0 without trying. So they've got to try to do that. But I'm telling you, every time that they've got in behind those fullbacks and put crosses in, they've made Melbourne City look a little bit vulnerable. So they've got to get that ball out wide, do exactly what Melbourne City have done to them, and hug those touchlines and start whipping those balls in.
Decent spell of possession this for the visitors. Jamison again, lovely pass. Likewise, McLaren. They're in behind here, Melbourne City. And Wilmering able to force it clear for Western Sydney. Aquilina to take the throw. A young man who's had some really good chances to score in his young A-League career. Back to a game in Newcastle. He came in from that left-hand side and couldn't get on the end of things. It will come, and the Wanderers could do with it tonight. Wilmering, lovely pass again for Kamau. Their understanding there for all to see, and Good got a little fortunate. Boot trying to get there. Margush, not a whole lot of a touch on it. It was McLaren flying in looking for the hat-trick, in fact.
Yeah, and that was clever from Nabbout. Took it first time because the keeper was on the floor and he just couldn't control. Very difficult chance, but really good ball in. Completely misjudged the flight of it, the goalkeeper.
You can see that final double change being prepared by Carl Robinson. More attacking talent about to get out there.
Missing pass, not what they need from Mitchell Dugan. Aquilina hasn't been used enough. He's been so many times completely free on that right-hand side, and they just haven't gone to him.
So Duke is off, still getting back to absolute peak fitness after hotel quarantine. And Ziggy Gordon taken off here. The Wanderers will go to a back 4, and Nikolai Muller will be added to the midfield mix. with a back three and the wing backs so often, the Wanderers, but no time for that now. And here's the new right back, no longer the right wing back. Aquilina gifted possession. Don't forget, double-header tonight in the A-League. We'll be off to the west after this one. Highest scoring team through the first 6 games of an A-League season, the Perth Glory, taking on the table toppers, the Central Coast Mariners, still riding high.
Yeah, an absolute cracker, that the next one, isn't it? Perth in super form, and Mariners as well, top of the table.
Boot did well there initially. Won his little scrap. It's a nice little party trick as well. The little bounce drop kick return to Atkinson for the throw. Clever by McLaren. Noon timed his run. Garuccio in at the back post. If Noon can find him, he saw him late and will settle for a corner.
They should have tried with the right foot. Not sure he saw him. Not sure he saw him. I think he had his head down, but Garuccio was completely free at that back post, bearing down on the far post. Will win a corner.
Number 16 about to come in that category. Noon delivers. Oh, it looks so ominous to celebrate that anniversary for Curtis Good. 9 years ago today, he scored his first A-League goal. This could have been his third.
Well, he should have scored. He attacks it. Good ball in, but the key is he's the one attacking it with the most determination. All as he needs to do is head that one down. His leap was good. He was up early enough.
So much space now for Melbourne City. Oh, Noon. Jamie McLaren thought there was an easier pass than that one that he attempted. Well, they're hanging in there. They could just as easily cop a third here, the Wanderers, the way they're opening up at the back. But they need to be the next to score, and it needs to be pretty quick. Abini can turn. Space on that right-hand side, and he's seen it. Kamau has Aquilina overlapping. And Jamison went down and dragged it out for a corner. The former Wanderer played 29 games back in the 2015-16 season. Stood up towards that penalty spot. McGowan got his head on it. So it didn't generate any power or accuracy to test Glover. You think back to that grand final, the saves that he made against Sydney FC. I reckon he was on track for a Joe Master medal, the best player in the grand final, before Ryan Grant popped up with the winner at the end that Melbourne City attack now. His save, so important in this game, denying Bruce Kamau. Here's Gamulka, former Adelaide United youngster. Metcalf got past Muller. Atkinson back in there. Metcalf flicked it on. Down for Garuccio, and Much took it off him.
They didn't have that much time. He wasn't aware of Much coming in from behind him.
Clear foul by Gamulka. Beanie wanted to take it quickly, and an inventive little free kick around the corner for Wilmering. Glover reaching, little touch on it. Kamau back to Muller, and good blocks importantly. Now Dorrans and Gamulka with an outstretched leg. Back in by Aquilina, and Abini able to track it down over his shoulder, but Cavruccio first to it.
Oh, brilliant action. Two blocks from Melbourne City defenders. Muller probably thought he'd scored there. There's no keeper. He hit it well enough. They just had bodies. Defended desperately.
Wilmering took a divot that time, not his best connection. Does have a lovely left boot. The youngster back from that ACL. Into a good run of games now. Here he is again. Plenty of space. Aquilina, after the miss by Yeboah, looked like he had every chance to get on the end of things aerially again, but maybe he doesn't practice headers either.
Once again, boys, you can see every time they put decent crosses in, it makes a big difference. Melbourne City don't look as assured as they have been looking. They need to put cross after cross after cross in these last 5 minutes or so.
Here's Muller. Now they've got the overload on this right-hand side. Beanie, Aquilina maintaining the width. Back inboard for the German international. And Kamau with the miss hit and the misplaced pass.
Ball to the back post, and Glover, I think, got a little touch in it. Kamau smart with that ball back to Muller, who hit it well, and Dorrans hit it well as well. Mulker with that second block.
Oh, Natta made a mistake.
Oh, that's that.
Looks offside against Craig Noon, but it might be on here in the middle for Cavruccio, the left footer. McLaren, and it won't go in for his hat-trick. And now the offside is given.
It was clearly offside. It was a dumb play, really. I mean, they just got it horribly wrong. Should have gone on his own. That was a good situation for them. They played that one right. Wanderers need the ball up the other end if they're running out of time. And it's the problem when you're two down. It's, you know, it presses on almost every pass, every cross.
Atkinson turned around, and Glover is there if he wants him. Takes on Kamau and then gives it away. That's a haymaker of a challenge by Cavruccio on Dorrans. The referee says take the throw. A couple of minutes to go until we find out how much stoppage time there'll be. Time ticking away for the home team in this contest. Natta only as far as Metcalf. And McGowan 50-50 against Naboot, who's pulled up lame again, stretching out cramped, the Socceroo. Beanie trying to help it on towards Aquilina. Kisnorbo's got to be pretty satisfied watching on from the hotel room. I hope you're on the improve, Paddy. Look forward to seeing you at the Melbourne Derby on the weekend, which will be the 2000th game in A-League history. What about that for a milestone coming up for this competition this Saturday night in a blockbuster game? Victory desperate for results, taking on Melbourne City, who look set to come into that game after back-to-back wins in very impressive fashion. Jamison heads clear and finds the boot this time. Glover's got time for a touch or two.
Well, Melbourne City's second half hasn't reached the heights of their first half, but I tell you, it's been professional by and large. Just had a couple of chances. They dealt with everything pretty well, and they might get a third here.
He scored 2. Jamie McLaren looks to turn provider this time. And Dorrans took up a great position.
He certainly did, because there was 2 white shirts and only 1 wanderer, and Dorrans read it perfectly.
Oh, that's a nasty challenge. Noon apologises to Wilmering afterwards, and the referee brings it back. He's had a good night. Sean Evans made the right call on the penalty in company with the VAR. They've also had a good night. Alex King back in that centre after pretty rough last week and a half or so in that part of the game. And there's another live look in at Danny De Silva, Diego Castro. There's a couple of names to whet the appetite for what's to come. The Central Coast trying to nail down top spot on the ladder and get another positive result, but it won't be easy against the Perth Glory and all of their stars. Andrew Naboot finally gets the rest.
Great game from Naboot, particularly first half. He was absolutely devastating.
Brought down for Avini by Yeboah. Tom Glover ignoring the ball that's standing there on the cone for him, waiting for the RBB to give it back. And Sean Evans gave him the hurry up. Just the 5 minutes being added on here. Austin Griffiths, that was a tired clearance. Curtis Good's been magnificent as well. City hold on for a clean sheet here, which will give them even more confidence heading into that derby. Given up here by Wilmering to Garuccio, and Kolakowski just on was peeling wide. Garuccio wanted him to come towards the ball. Much gives it away to Connor Metcalf. Kolakowski wrapping around. He's looking for Garuccio at the back post. Last time they were here, Melbourne City scored their 3rd in the 92nd minute. Jamie McLaren scored that one to win a 5-goal thriller. Now it would just be the icing on the cake if McLaren could complete his hat-trick in stoppage time. Jamie McLaren now joint top of the Golden Boot race. He won that prize last season, and he's level with Matt Derbyshire. 2 very similar strikers. The way they move around and cause headaches for defenders, and tend to take their chances more often than not. Decent pass from Wilmering to Much, who can go back to the young left back. Takes on Garuccio instead. Back in by Wilmering, and it breaks the way of Jordan Much, off good. And again, Roston Griffiths.
He's been outstanding, hasn't he? He's been everywhere. First as a screening midfielder, and since going back in defence, he's quite a few blocks, interceptions, and his leadership has been there. It's been evident in this second half.
Oh, Metcalf for Jamie McLaren! Hat-trick for the first time against Western Sydney, if the VAR waves in on his behalf, because the flag is up, and I thought he was offside.
We're getting very used to getting excited about goals that are not going to count. We kept his flag down initially, but yeah, he's well offside.
He'll have to settle for the customary black brace against Western Sydney. He would have been outright top of the Golden Boot race if the goal had stood. But Lance Greenshields still eagle-eyed until the end, the assistant on this near side.
And didn't he do well there? It's exactly the way you want your linesman to do it. Just let it go if you're not sure, and then bring it back, pull your flag up like that, and the VAR goes and does its job. Well done.
VAR just trying to clarify it all. Alex King maybe getting the set square out, but now we're right. Had a couple to beat. Nudged Atkinson over. And Melbourne City can bank the 3 points now. Job done for Des Buckingham, who slotted in to be the main man tonight in the absence of a sick Paddy Kisnorbo. But he'll be feeling a whole lot better back in the hotel room. Well, the Melbourne City coach, thanks in no small part to Roston Griffiths. His long legs have come in handy on multiple occasions tonight. Western Sydney have plenty of work to do to gel this jam-packed squad with talent into a unit that's going to put in better performances than this at home. No goals, back-to-back defeats. Adelaide United came here and left with the 3 points, and so too will Melbourne City. 10 games played this season. Western Sydney have won just 3, while Melbourne City make it back-to-back successes against the teams from Sydney. First the Sky Blues and now the Wanderers, and they are surging up the A-League ladder at the moment. 4 wins, 4 losses for them. Full time tonight, Melbourne City 2, Western Sydney 0. Look what it means to Melbourne City. Great team performance. A lot of unity on display when they scored the goals. The celebration from McLaren when he nailed that penalty into the roof of the net, and all the subs were warming up behind the goal. He got them involved. Thought he had a hat-trick in stoppage time. That goal was ruled out. But Melbourne City had done their damage well before that. Started the night in 10th, and now they're in and around the top 6. Don't forget, we're not far away from going to Perth to watch the Glory take on the Mariners in our nightcap on this Tuesday night. So many fixtures coming up, and isn't that an amazing milestone for the competition? Melbourne City will be playing in the A-League's 2000th game, and it's a marquee matchup with the Melbourne Victory at Marvel this weekend. Just on the outside looking in because of goal difference. Perth Glory can push ahead of Melbourne City again, and look, Perth have only played 6 games so far. They loom large, don't they? An important game coming up for them next against the Mariners. And the Wanderers, their goal difference has been dragged back to level pegging. 13 points out of 10 games so far. And Jamie McLaren is about to chat to Mark Bosnich.
Yes, he is, Brenton. Thank you very much, Jamie McLaren. 2 goals tonight, but more importantly, not only a wonderful team performance, but a wonderful performance from you on behalf of the team. Tell us about your role tonight. I mean, normally we used to see you seen going in behind people. So many times I saw you coming short and making that extra man in midfield.
Yeah, now look, we've got Andy back. He's going to make runs in behind, so I can afford to come short and try and drag a man. And we watch Wanderers, and we know that they drop deep and allow space for myself to come in. Not my usual game, but we have to adapt. So just proud of the boys. We backed up from the other night.
And the other thing I wanted to say as well, I was mentioning this to Robbie Slater at halftime. We're used to seeing you guys put some amazing football in, winning 1-0 or 2-0. All of a sudden, something goes wrong, and it turns the other way around. But tonight, you saw it through. That must also make you very, very happy.
I kept looking up at the clock, and when it hit 70 minutes, I'm thinking, you know, we're going to make a mistake here. But well, credit to the back four and Glover in goal. They were superb, and they deserved the clean sheet tonight, and we deserve the 3 points.
Jamie McLaren, congratulations. Back to you, Brenton.
Thank you, boss. Cheers, guys. Sorry, mate.
Yep, joint top of the Golden Boot race now, Jamie McLaren, and he'll have his eyes on that little gong again this season. And he's also got his eyes on Shane Smeltz and Archie Thompson, who are within touching distance now on the all-time A-League goal scorers charts as we get some more reaction now with Bozza.
Thank you, Brenton. Ziggy, very disappointing tonight. Probably the worst performance from Western Sydney Wanderers this season?
I would say by a fair margin, to be honest. I mean, we came into the game and belief was a big word that we used in the run-up to this game, and there wasn't enough belief. There wasn't enough belief in our defending and in our attacking display today. Obviously, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed for the boys. I know how much they care, because every single one of them cares so much. But it wasn't our day today, and congratulations to Melbourne City.
Now, you talked about belief. You're going to need a lot of it and a lot of character to bounce back. You got Western United, who are in tremendous form this weekend. What do you think you guys need to do now with these next couple of days in terms of rectifying that mental side?
Well, that's the great thing about a short turnaround, and that's the great thing about playing football. You always have a chance to rectify your mistakes, and we've got that come Sunday, and no better game than Western United. And we'll use that word again, belief, but we've got to really mean it. We've got to really believe in it, and we've got to do it for the fans and everyone who supports us.
Thank you very much, Ziggy. Back to you, Brenton.
Thanks, Bozza. Yeah, the Wanderers only 1 point clear now of Melbourne City, who still have 2 games in hand on them. So this is a massive result for the Melbourne club tonight. And the man who was in charge, working that technical area, Des Buckingham, will be chatting to the boys after the break. He's a very impressive character as well. The Englishman, 36 years of age, with a big future in the game in the coaching capacity. Stay with us. Melbourne City, 2-0 winners tonight.
At Bet365, we're always innovating, creating. It's this constant pursuit of perfection that brought you Bet Builder, Match Live, alerts, and live streaming. It's the reason we're the world's favorite online betting company.
Gamble responsibly.
There's inspiration everywhere when it comes to color. Through your day, when you go out, you're looking around, you see trees, you see plants, you see buildings, you see somebody else's house. You think, hey, that would look good on my place. Wherever you get your color inspiration from, we have a color to match here at Bunnings. So go find the colors that inspire you, and we'll help put it in a can.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Bring your color inspiration to life.
Hey, Pete, just the almond milk, bananas and cocoa, thanks, mate. And if you could chuck it on the bill, that'd be awesome. Do you get it? The bill. These things.
Almond milk smoothie pops. Treat me good. Proud and Punch.
With the Latitude 9000 series, everything is elevated. An advanced camera enhances every shot. Intelligent audio brings the conference room to you. And with the new Intel Evo vPro platform, they're built for a secure business experience. The Latitude 9000 series is leading the new age of intelligence.
All right, let's see what it's got. Comfort, bucket loads. Now for some punishment. It's tough, really tough. But smart. Capable, you could say that. Just one more thing. Your turn. Brand new Mazda BT50. The complete package.
At Total Tools, we're the experts in tools for tradies. If you've got the job, we've got the tool. We won't be beaten on low prices. Total Tools. Low prices on every tool, for every trade, guaranteed.
Nothing can stop me. You're gonna feel the legendary Polish power.
Guess what? I'm the best in the world. You'll see.
This program brought to you by Caniston Once Daily Athlete's Foot Cream. Bet365.
Gamble responsibly. Maccas. Never miss a single moment with McDelivery. Amy. Lucky you're with Amy. And Burson Auto Parts. Over 190 stores. We stock parts. Lots of parts.
Welcome back to Bankwest Stadium, where Melbourne City have run out 2-0 winners. Western Sydney Wanderers suffering their second consecutive defeat at home to what was, in the end, you have to say, a rampant Melbourne City. Convincing winners. A little bit in the second half, you have to say Western Sydney Wanderers trying to get back in the game. But overall, probably their most disappointing performance since the arrival of Carl Robinson. But Melbourne City, absolutely fantastic, and probably should have won by more in the end. Jamie McLaren there with the second goal, the penalty justly awarded by the VAR after Sean Evans originally said it wasn't a penalty, but for me it was a penalty. Robbie Slater, what can one say other than the fact that you have to say it's Western Sydney Wanderers' worst performance, I would say, since Carl Robinson has taken the reins?
Yeah, look, disjointed, and you have to think that very short turnaround certainly didn't do them any favours. They were second, particularly in the first half, to the first balls and importantly second balls, and Melbourne City in the first half were absolutely scintillating, and only 1-0 up at the break and could have been a lot more. And second half was a little bit different, but they still look very dangerous on the counter. I thought a professional performance in the second half, but the Wanderers were flat.
And now we're going to go over to the caretaker manager for tonight, maybe the full-time manager after tonight, Des Buckingham of Melbourne City. Des, that was just a little joke for you, just to make sure that Paddy is awake in his bed watching here on the Ho. But congratulations tonight. These are absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. How did you see it?
No, I see it the same. I thought first half we were really good. We wanted to pick up where we left off against Sydney for that 70 minutes last week and take that into this week. And I thought with the changes, we had a late change just before kick-off as well, and obviously losing PK today. I thought the team adapted and they played some fantastic football in that first half. And I thought we could have gone in 2, if not 3 up in the first half.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at what you did in that, particularly the first half, was that the way you were set up to leave, Andrew Naboot really hugged that touchline, and Craig Noon on that left-hand side, and you got some great diagonal balls out and early service to them, and they did a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's it. We know Western Sydney, it's a tough place to come, and the way that they press in particular, we felt if we could get out, attract and switch quickly, that we'd be able to get, especially with the pace of Andy on the right-hand side, looking to stretch that back three, especially Ziggy Gordon. So it worked really well for us first half.
And one last question I wanted to ask you, and I spoke about this, Des, to Jamie McLaren. We're used to seeing Jamie going in behind defences, but tonight he was coming forward so much and helping out the midfield. That must have made you very happy from a team perspective to see somebody of his calibre helping out the team when he could and actually doing something a little bit different to what he normally does.
Yeah, it's an area to his game. We know he can go in behind. We know he can score goals. It's an area to his game. He's hugely developed from pre-season up until now. And again, he showed it really well tonight. And that's another dimension that will really put him in good stead and really helps us to create further chances for others.
Des Buckingham, congratulations and thank you very much. Go and enjoy with your team.
Yeah, well done, mate. You can wind up Paddy when you get back.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Now, looking forward, Robbie, to our next game coming up. We spoke about it briefly at halftime with Neil Kilkenny. Perth Glory, off the back of that fantastic win against Brisbane Roar, against the league leaders in Central Coast Mariners. How important it is, do you think, in terms of Perth Glory? I know they've got games in hand, but is to continue this form and actually, put one over the league leaders who have been absolutely fantastic thus far this season.
Well, especially at home. When you get a run of games at home, because we know this COVID situation has been particularly difficult for Perth and the Melbourne teams. But so, they had 2 lots of quarantine. Remember they played